Okay, so we have, when you pick up the gems, you see one, two, three, we have our portal. Now we have to get it to work. So obviously it doesn't do anything right now because we don't have any other levels. Now we have to add some. So if I go over here, you'll see the clipboard, and that's my scenes. Scenes are levels. It's the same thing. So what we can do is I'm going to rename this scene. Everything is double-click to rename, and we'll say level 1. Now the cool thing about GameSalad is you can do this with rules, actors, whatever. Copy and paste works. So if I click on level 1 and go Command-C, Command-V, so that's Command-C, then Command-V, copy and paste. You can do edit, copy, and edit, paste if you want. So I get the same level. This will save you, so I'll title this level 2, from having to do dragging everything back in. So if I double click, I'm on level 2. You can't tell, but you can see right up here it'll say level 2. And we can go ahead and just say we delete that. And just so we know that there's a change. Level 1, level 2. So the thing we need to do now is make sure the portal goes to level 2. Now what we can do with that is I go to change level portal, and we'll add a rule, because this is going to be a collide. When the player collides, it changes levels. We'll add a rule, and we'll say on collision, the actor of type, change level portal, and we'll say, okay, let's say change scene. So change scene. It's right over here with everything else. There you go, change scene. Now you'll have options. It'll say go to, and you can say next scene, previous scene, or you can specify which one you want it to go. So this one will just go to next because it'll keep running forward, and when it gets to the last one, it'll loop back around. So let's play it. And here I go. 1, 2, 3. We might have a problem there. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So here's the thing. Did you see what I did? What we should be doing is, I forgot we're in the change level portal. What you should be doing is going in here and making a collide with the player. So now, and this is why you need to test these games often. Often. So we go in here, and there we go. Now if you notice, look at this. The portal's there, and look what our counter is. It starts at 3. Now we need to fix that. See, when you have global attributes, unless, again, you specify to reset them, well, it's not going to go. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to go in, before change scene, I'll change an attribute, and I'll change my gem counter. So attributes, game, gem count, and I'll literally put it right back to 0. So this way, when we go through the portal, it'll reset everything. Let's get all our gems, and we go through, and you see, it's right at 0, and now I can just get the gems again, and there it is again. And we're back to the start of things. So you can just iterate. You bang out like 50 levels right now. Because when you're designing games, you're just getting started. Don't go, hey, I'm going to make an MMO on my first game. It's not going to happen. Picture instead, okay, I have a month. What kind of game can I make in a month? And then you make a game in a month, then you make another game in a month, and then you say, okay, 2 months, and then you go from there. And then eventually you build up to giant games. But you have to crawl before you can walk, and this will help you understand things a lot easier. So, we've got that, we've got the portal, we've got it resetting nicely. Now let's look at polish a little bit. Because if you notice, when you're like getting things, like this is just kind of when I grab the gem. It just disappears. It doesn't really do anything. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make it look snazzy through spawn actor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the gem, right? And I'm going to hit copy, paste. Oh, doesn't seem to like that. So what we'll do instead is I'll make a new gem actor and I'll say gem indication. And I'll go in here and do gem 01. And same thing as last time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have it spawn and we're going to make it look like it, is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do change size, which is a behavior. We're going to have it grow. And I'm going to say interpolate. This interpolate is it will take one value and send it to another for the specific amount of time you want it in. So if you want something to go from like 5 to 0 in 1 second, you would use interpolate. Now we want to use an attribute because we want it to go transparent, so we'll use alpha. So if I go into gem indication, instead of game, I can see all of the things about it. And now you'll see color, alpha. So we'll make that to 0 after, let's say, 0.5 seconds. Now watch. Nothing's going to happen. See? Nothing. Because did we tell the computer to spawn it when you pick up a gem? No. So now we need to go to gem and spawn actor, put it above destroy so it fires before it dies. Gem indication. So now when we hit play, see, boom, boom, boom. You see how those have some weight to them now? It feels good to pick something up, and that's what you want to create. But there's one bit of housekeeping we have to take care of because they haven't destroyed. They're still on the screen. Unless we tell it to die, it's still going to be growing and sitting there, just invisible, and that's going to take up system resources. Whenever you're not using something, you have to destroy it or it'll waste resources. So what I'll do is I'll put a rule in here and I'll say attribute when the gem is, let's go by size, so let's say when the width is about, 175, let's say equal to or greater than, we'll destroy it. And again, we'll rename this rule destroy. Here, let me open it back up so you can see it again. So self-size width greater than or equal to 75, or 175, and destroy. So what'll happen is, they'll go, see, and they're dying. And we might want to even edit it a little more, but you guys can do that. But it gives a nice bam, nice weight to it when you pick up the gems. I almost might spawn it maybe a bit smaller, so I'll go into the size of that and have it, make it 60. And let's make it go transparent a little faster. So 0.25 will do. So that way, let's see. Yeah, there we go. You see how that feels like you got something right there? Look at the feel of that as I hit them. Just ding, ding. So that feels good. Now you want things that are supposed to be good to feel good. You want things that are supposed to be bad to feel bad. Because watch this. We die, what happens? Nothing. It's just it doesn't even reset. That's terrible. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to go back into player, under my kill rule that we made earlier, and you see we have destroy. We're going to get rid of that. So I'll click on it and hit delete or backspace. And we're going to do a timer. So we're going to say after you hit a wall, the actor destroys, but after X amount of time, everything resets. So what I'll do is I'll go to timer here, or I can type it in. I'll just make sure it's in do. And you'll see you have every after or for, so you can set how many seconds. So let's say after 3 seconds, the scene resets. So we'll say reset, let's see, game and reset scene. So if you reset game, you'll go all the way back to the beginning. If you reset scene, you'll just reset everything in the scene. So we'll just reset the level. Now here's the important part. Check run to completion. So that means if you check that, the timer will go no matter what. So what I'll do now is on top of that, I'll destroy, so I'll put that above here, So I'll destroy him, then after 3 seconds, it'll reset the scene. Now there's something important we're missing that involves resetting. Take a second and think about it. But while you do that, let's look. So if I go in and I hit it, you see it takes a second. And 3 seconds might be a little too long. Again, this is why you playtest these things. Yeah, way too long. Let's give it a second. And we'll put the destroy underneath the timer. So boop. And we should be going through. Now you'll notice as you go, some things will work and some things won't. So this isn't firing because we're dying before the timer can go off. And you'll see this in games, especially when you're making them. So let's look. See, now it works because it's not destroying, it's giving the timer room to breathe. So we can get away with something else. What we'll do is, we'll spawn an actor that's an explosion. So what we'll do is, I'll import some art, and you'll see I've given you explosion. We'll make a new actor, and this will act as all of our death functions. So I'll call this explosion. And we'll put the image on it, like so. Now, when player dies, we don't need any of this in here, so I'll delete it. So no timer, no reset scene. We'll just spawn actor, the explosion in its place. So I'll just spawn actor, explosion, and you can leave it just like this. It'll pop up right in the center. Now, we can safely get rid of this, player can't do anything, and spawn an explosion. So in the explosion, we'll put the timer, and we'll say after 3 seconds, run to completion, reset scene. Now, this is going to look a little weird because it's not going to do anything necessarily. See, bam, it's going to go. But it'll reset the scene. Also, we missed a step. We didn't destroy the player. So we'll spawn the actor in the player and destroy him. Bam. So now he'll die. Then we'll go into explosion real quick and we'll make it fade out. So I'll change size. Now if the scene's going to reset, it's okay. You can leave things on here like this. But normally you want to delete them after a certain amount of time. But for this, it's fine to leave it. So I'll just make it -5 because you can make it negative numbers to shrink. So now we should have just like that. See that? Look at that. So now that feels bad. You have a nice feedback. You always want to have nice feedback in the game. So you see, in my explosion, after 3 seconds, run to completion, I've reset the scene, and I've just left change size loose to go off as it pleases. Then in the player, all it's doing is spawning it and dying. So the last thing we'll cover is there's no sound in the game, and you need sound. What we'll do is I'll just go over back to my media tab, hit the plus, and if you haven't saved now, now's the time.